Welcome to the Compass and the Clock podcast. I'm KB, your host. This show is about one thing: how leaders make high-stakes decisions when direction and timing matter most. In each episode, I sit down with CEOs, founders, and senior operators to break down the moments that shape their companies, not the highlight reel, the actual decisions. We examine how values set direction and how velocity determines results across leadership, strategy, and execution. This is not theory. This is decision-making under pressure. Let's get into it. Imagine being laid off 4 times in just 7 years. For most of us, that's a cycle of uncertainty that leads back to the safety of the traditional job boards. But for today's guest, it was the catalyst for a complete reimagining of professional identity. Joining us today is Samuel Vazquez Jr., the founder and CEO of SVJ Enterprise LLC and the visionary behind 2 AI-powered platforms, Signal Layer and Parseworks. What makes Samuel's story truly remarkable isn't just that he survived the volatility of the modern job market. It's that he decided to fix it. Without a technical background or a line of code to his name, Samuel chose to stop being the noise in the system and started building the signal. He walked away from the traditional job search to create tools that help professionals prove who they actually are, beyond what a resume can capture. Today, we're diving into a high-stakes decision born from a personal crossroads: the choice to build a tech company from scratch with no safety net, driven by one powerful question: will I be able to live with this decision regardless of the outcome? Samuel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thanks for inviting me on.
No, my pleasure. Before the show, we were kind of just chit-chatting a little bit, catching up. We met on LinkedIn ages ago, it seems, right? And I've been, following your journey on LinkedIn and your struggles through the job market, and where you are today with the Signal platform and the Parseworks. So let's start there, right at the where we are today, and we'll talk about how we got there and all that. So what is Signal Layer?
So it's interesting because Signal Layer it's kind of evolved. It continues to evolve into like a deeper tool than initially was planned. But kind of on the nutshell, on the surface, Signal Layer is basically I think of it as a professional identity and opportunity discovery platform. So it's like the missing layer. You have resumes which have been around forever, and it's basically just like a flat document with a bunch of bullets and work history. And then like there's LinkedIn, which originally kind of started out as a social, kind of like a professional networking site, but it's really kind of just turned into just a lot of noise, advertisements, and egos. And so you can't really find the professionals or the people kind of on the platform unless you're really kind of digging or searching for them. And so I wanted to kind of bring a lot of that stuff to the surface and kind of create something that's specifically designed for professionals, where they're kind of like at the center. They're like the main character of the platform. Originally, it was supposed to be specifically for just people who were really open or available for opportunities, because one of the things I've learned throughout my journey in the job market is that a lot of people are actually filtered out if they have that green badge on their profile picture, or if they're talking about needing opportunity. And to me, that never really made sense, because the reality is that everybody needs an income to survive. And a lot of professionals like myself, whether you're mid-level or senior level, put a lot of effort and work into our careers to kind of get ourselves to a certain level, and then to have it pretty much ripped away from you, and then you kind of find yourself back out there trying to find that next opportunity so that you don't lose everything that you've worked so hard to kind of build. People shouldn't look at those people in those positions in a negative way and judge them, because it could happen to anyone.
No, there's a lot of judgment around that, right? Like people see the green banner and they're like, "Oh, that guy or that gal may be desperate."
Yeah, and to me that's crazy, because it's like there shouldn't be a stigma around being available for opportunities or being open to work. I mean, anyone that finds themselves in that position, there is a sense of urgency and desperation behind it because, like I said, we need incomes. We're losing homes, we're losing, you know, uh, our way of life. We're losing everything, and to step back and to accept something less or lower because that's the only option. To me, that's not the solution. So I wanted to create an environment, that saw the professionals for more than just their bullets on a resume. Like I wanted people to be seen for how they function, how they operate, how they think. Because one of the things I've learned throughout my career, especially being in the position of hiring and bringing people and talent into the organizations or teams that I was on,
Mm-hmm.
is that I never hired anyone based on what they've done on a resume. Like I've always felt like the majority, not all, but the majority of professions, especially in corporate, can be learned. What you can't
Mm-hmm.
teach is how, what you can't teach is you can't teach someone to be nice. You can't teach somebody how to play nice with others. You can't teach somebody how to have a sense of urgency or to have, ambition. Like that's not something you can really teach. So those are the things that I really looked for when I would have conversations with people about, why they wanted to join the team or what they could bring to the team. Because you could have people on your team that know everything inside and out. They can be the best at that specific function, but if they don't work well with others, or they're just nasty people, or they don't like to interact or collaborate, then the whole team and the whole organization is going to fall apart. So um,
So that's super interesting because 100% agree, right? Like the any skill can be taught, right? Merge it with a good talent, now you're in bonus territory. But what really can't be trained is character. And when somebody comes on the team, they might be in fact, they may be the best skilled person on the team, period. But if they're also the worst character, all they are is a cancer on the team
right,
and inside the company. And so,
exactly.
how does SignalLayer give more clarity? Because obviously, if you're a toxic individual, you're not going to say, "By the way, I'm toxic as hell," type of thing. But for the people who are not toxic, obviously, how does
Mhm.
it help them shine through their good character?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're always going to have people that are going to stretch the truth, or they're going to hide things. They do that on resumes as well. But I think when you're actually speaking to a person and you're kind of really kind of getting at the heart of who they are professionally and what the role entails and stuff like that, I think a lot of that stuff comes to the surface. Um, if they're pretending, or because I always find, like, when you have conversations with people, even if it's not about work, when you have conversations with people and you're just talking, a lot of who they really are and their character comes out. So I feel the same way about interviews. So what Signal Layer does is it allows people to kind of go in and really kind of describe who they are, how they function professionally. What types of things about work excite them? What type of environments do they feel they thrive in? How do they like to be managed? What's their leadership style? What are some of the things they've done that they're proud of? And and then it kind of goes in there, and they can select different tones, whether they want their tone to sound kind of like direct or conversational, and the system will kind of curate all that information and kind of put it out into a signal card and into an actual executive style kind of dossier. So I think of it as like it's like the evolution of the regular resume. The environments and organizations continue to change and grow, and how they look for talent continues to change and grow, but the one thing that's never changed is the resume, or how professionals are presenting themselves. So I wanted to add that extra layer that's missing, and that's about the people, who you are
Oh,
professionally.
I get it now because we talked a little bit about me logging in and trying to build a profile, and I think this is the crux of where maybe I was initially confused, right? Because I didn't because okay, so for my audience, right? So this is important, right? From a user perspective, is that basically what you're saying is you tell your dossier, right? You provide your profile information, not the same way you would do like a LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, where what you're typing in is what's going to be displayed. What you're typing is your true intentions, your real ideas, your real thoughts about those topic lines, and then the AI takes that and then formats it into a professional uh, profile or dossier and things of that nature. And then you can change. That's what we talk about being able to change the tone, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can be super friendly, but maybe sometimes you're too friendly, and you don't come off what people would say serious enough,
Yeah.
right? In your writing, the AI will help shape those stories into more serious professional, call it professional tone, right? Corporate tone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or if you go the other way, maybe you're too serious,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you need to be a little more friendly,
Yeah.
in what you say. Then your stories are then kind of formatted in a way that's more friendly when on the public facing side. Did I get that right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It doesn't. It's not going to change your information or you know take what you put in and kind of twist it so that it's not really what you were saying. It's just going to
Mm,
format it and present it in a way that comes across more effective to the
mm,
audience. And it could, like I said, you can choose like if you want your tone to be conversational, or if you want it to be more professional, more direct. It'll change it, and every user will be able to see kind of what that looks like and change the tone if they want to.
mm.
Um, and so yeah, so it's and by the way, thank you for going through the process and sharing that feedback with me. I've actually taken that feedback and made some enhancements to the onboarding. Since then, I've actually added an assisted. It's called an assisted onboarding, where you kind of like you can select whether you want to do it manually on your own or assisted, and the assisted will actually walk you through
Oh
each
wow,
field and help you and
nice.
actually give you options and stuff that like canned options that you can select versus um, typing it in, or you can even do transcribe. So if you don't want to type everything in, you can just hit the microphone and speak your answer into it, kind of get through the field. And I've added some. I have like a time lapsed kind of like, so you do section one and it tells you how much time you have left, and it's actually building your signal next to it so you can kind of see it come together. So I
Mm,
took the feedback, and I also took some of the feedback from some of the testers that I've had kind of running through the flow as well. So I'm always continuing to enhance it and improve it and make the experience better. But it's important that people understand that it's going to take like 10 or 15 minutes because we really want to get that professional identity from you like in there, and that
right,
and the tool really does so many different things with that information. I mean, especially if you upgrade to like a pro, or a pro monthly or a pro yearly type of plan, you get so many more benefits and features with the plan. Like
hmm,
I actually just built in an inline chat agent that each user will have for themselves on their dashboard. And it's not like a chat agent where you have to tell it who you are, what you do. It basically scans your entire profile. It knows who you are. So you can ask it like, hey, based on my profile, what are some of the positions I should really be aiming to apply for? And it'll
hmm,
go through and tell you these are the job positions that you should be going for. Or if you say, hey, I have an interview coming up for XYZ position, can you help me with a cover letter or something? And it'll say, yeah, based on your profile and where your strengths are, here's the cover letter. It'll do all that stuff for you. So it's like your own personal assistant that bases everything it
hmm,
does, says, off of your specific profile that you've created.
right.
So
And because you spent that 15 minutes really filling out the form and really kind of being honest with it, it has maximum effect for you, right, on the back end for it because it could actually use that data to help you. Now, let me get this straight. You're a coder, right?
I know very, very, very little coding, actual coding, but I'm a very innovative thinker and I know like what I want to get done. What I've gotten really good at is prompting, like prompt engineering, like building
Mm-hmm.
prompts that allow a lot of these really cool tools that are out now, to help me kind of build what it is I'm trying to create. So yes, very little coding experience.
See,
Pretty
that's
much none.
amazing, right? Because this is
Yeah.
like the combination of clarity of vision plus AI equals product,
Yep.
right? So let's talk about how you got so clear on this vision, right? We talked a little bit about your history. Share as much as you would like,
Hmm.
right? about like what's the real big motivator for creating something like this, and how do you think it's going to change the world in that sense?
Man, so much. I feel like I just feel like professionals have gotten buried, especially professionals that are in the job market. I feel like they've just gotten buried by so many things.
Mm,
I feel like it's almost like we're being forced to do certain things, but then kind of like punished for it. And I'll give you an example. When we apply for jobs online, and you probably know this as well, when you apply for jobs online, you have to customize, and this might actually be a good segue into my Parseworks platform as well. But when you apply for jobs online, especially, professional careers and stuff like that, you have to customize your resume for every single job you go for. You have to make sure that you're ATS optimized, that you're including the all those automated tracking system keywords and phrases. And the thing is that you don't really know what those keywords and phrases are. You don't know what those recruiters or hiring managers listed in the system when they posted those jobs. So you have to use tools that help you kind of optimize your resume. And then you got the recruiters that are getting pissed off, and hiring managers, and all they do is complain about how, everyone's using these optimizing tools to submit their resumes. But you're not really giving us a choice, because if we don't use these tools, then the chances of our resume actually getting through the system and into an actual person's hands is that much less. And then, you know, like I said, so and then we're getting laid off from all these companies are just laying people off. So we're being forced into the job market. We're being forced to use these tools so that we can increase our chances of getting an interview because we need work, right? And then everybody's kind of slapping our hands and telling us that we're doing it wrong. And to me, it just doesn't make any sense. So
mm,
that's what helped me kind of create Parseworks. Every time I would apply for a position, I would always have to use like one or two different tools to, optimize my resume. So I would have to use one tool where I would upload the job description and my resume, and it would tell me like these are keywords, and then I would have to copy these keywords and try to figure out ways to plug them into my resume. And
mm-hmm.
then, there wasn't really an app that did kind of everything. And then the ones that kind of did everything really took your resume, and what they really did was just kind of recreate a whole different resume. Like
Right, it's not
that
even
way,
you anymore.
yeah, that's not even really like your true experience and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
when I built Parseworks, initially it started out as just a parsing app, because what I was finding was, and a lot of people can probably relate to this, is when you're applying for a lot of positions, a lot of these companies use Workday as their tracking, as their application system. And the
Hmm.
way Workday works is, you upload your resume, but then you still got to go through and manually enter every experience that you've had manually.
Inside fields.
Yeah, yeah. And so I created Parseworks, and for initially for that. So what you do is you upload your resume, and then it breaks your resume into sections specifically and identical to Workday. So you just copy the title, paste it, copy the job description, paste it, And then while I was doing that, I was like, you know what? I'm using all these different tools to apply for these positions. Like, I want to create a tool that allows me not to just do the Workday parsing, but I want a tool that I can, it'll run through my resume. It'll run through the job description. It'll tell me all the ATS keywords, or the majority of the ATS keywords that I need that are missing, ATS phrases that are missing. But not only that, I want it to give me a side by side comparison. I want it to show me my existing and my original job title, job roles, and accomplishments side by side, and showing me what the original looked like and what the optimized one looks like. And then I want to be able to either accept or reject those changes, and then regenerate my resume and have
Mm,
all of those things interwoven into my existing experience, so that you're not recreating my experience, or making up something, but you're just including these phrases and words into what I've already done. But then I
right.
also want to go another step. I want to have the option to either regenerate that resume in its original format that I uploaded, or reformat it into an ATS more ATS friendly version. Give
Mm,
people that option. And then I wanted to, like, if it goes through my skills and stuff and it finds like different skills that maybe are tools that maybe aren't in my resume but were required, and maybe I know those systems and tools, I just didn't have them in mind and I want to add them, I can just click them, and then when it regenerates, it'll populate those for me. And then when I get the optimized version, I want to be able to upload that back in and score it. And then it gives you a score, and it tells you, like, if you're above like 80 or 85%, your chances of getting through an ATS system are greater. It doesn't guarantee, none of the systems can guarantee it, but it gives you that extra chance. And so my tool literally does all of that stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I was going on LinkedIn and I'm seeing all of these hiring managers and recruiters making these comments about, like, people need to stop using AI tools to create their resumes and blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, you can't put us in a situation or pin us in a corner and then tell us that we can't use these tools. If you're going to continue making it so difficult, you're a recruiter. Right. You're supposed to be recruiting people, not just sitting back and expecting people to come to you. And so then I was like, well, let me
it's great. I won't use the tool if you don't use tools.
Exactly.
I won't use it if you don't use ATS. I won't have to use AI. I mean, fair.
Yeah. And that's why when I built my tool, I was like, I don't want the tool to make up a resume or lie about my experience. I just wanted to take what's in my resume and reformat and structure it in a way that's ATS friendly. And that's what it pretty much does. But then I was like, after hearing all that feedback, I was like, you know what? I did some research, and I was like, I found out that there are indicators when you use these AI tools. There are indicators that are on your resume that you can't see, that when they get run through these systems. So a lot of these companies have like these systems on their end when resumes come in that actually searches for AI indicators, and they'll filter your resume out or kick it out if they can see that you've used the tool. So I did some research, and I was actually able to construct what I call the stealth mode. So when you do the optimization, it will actually run through the optimized version of your resume and find the majority of the AI indicators, like little meta tags or little flags or little things that are on your resume that tell the tools, like, hey, this was done with AI. Yeah. It'll remove those out. So it won't completely remove them out, but let's say you found 15, it can get you down to like 5 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it really kind of increases your chances of kind of getting through what I call stealth mode. And that's something that no product out there, and I've looked, offers that. So my tool offers all of this stuff literally for $20 a month for unlimited. And that's insane, because I was using these tools and I was paying like $25, $30. And that was just like for one of the things that my tool does, So,
yeah.
So in conjunction with, so you got Parseworks and you got my Signal Layer, kind of like, they kind of work kind of together. Signal Layer is for you to kind of market yourself, your identity become discovered in a deeper way, in a better way, in a different way, while also having like the Parseworks to help you kind of apply for these positions. And so, I mean, my tool Signal Layer has so many awesome features to it. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now, but it's continuing.
Right. Trying to bridge that gap between who the person really is, right? Not just what the like you said, the flat piece of paper says that you can, and it's so limited. Like, you gotta live a whole human experience. How are you supposed to like capture it on a 1-page document if you're under 10 years, or 2 pages plus all the other things, plus white space, right? Like, it's got to be readable as a human. Like, you've had a whole human life for 10, 15, 20 years, and you're supposed to fit it on 2 pages, and then the other person's supposed to deduce what you did, right? They got to judge, because it's so limited information, what is not relevant, and so hence the AI. And so now you have an AI tool that counters their AI in a way of optimizing, right? Allowing the real story to be paired up to what they say they're looking for. And I got to say it like that, because I have this whole other diatribe on what companies may or may not be doing in the hiring field, aka lies. So I'm just saying, right? aka lies. But other than that, take what they are presenting and being able to see whether or not you are a good fit. because that could be the question. It's like, I want this role. It's like, all right, well, let's see. Let's, based on, industry standards, are you a good fit? Wow, I'm really lacking these core competencies. In fact, I didn't even know how to spell that. I
Yeah.
guess maybe I'm not a great fit for that. I should
Yeah.
find something else. And then to your point before, okay, hey AI, what am I a good fit for? Give me some options that maybe I've never considered based on my life experiences and the roles I've did have, but plus the skills I've built that I didn't consider. And that
Exactly.
could open up 1,000 doors for people that didn't even think about, oh, wow, I never thought I should be a graphic artist. That's weird. But yeah,
Yeah.
I actually can do all that stuff. Let
Hmm.
me go, maybe entry level, just go give it a shot, see what it's like. And they might be actually finding their passions that way because it's so hard because everybody's told, quotes, what to what the right way looks like, but when everything is based on like the industrial revolution of creating human machines to pull machine levers, not the human experience translating into a productive member of society, right? Because that's all jobs are, right? How are you a productive member of society? But then like exactly where does that fit in to who are you being productive for, and is there that relationship with the company, assuming all things are good, right? That's my premise for this little diatribe. um, it's so hard to find those matches
Yeah.
today.
I
It's
mean, and you
so
can,
hard.
it's very hard. And, you know, I think it's like when you're interviewing for roles, they're always asking you questions like, tell me about a time when you had to, de-escalate a situation, or tell me about a time when you were faced with conflict and you didn't know what to do, or, those types of questions. Well, Signal Layer is really kind of designed to kind of answer those questions, give people kind of a preview into that stuff. And when people are like, you can use Signal Layer to kind of go out and market yourself. You can also use Signal Layer for the people who are coming in and for yourself to be discovered. So like when they're doing the search, when they go into like the directory and they're trying to search for people, they can type in, show me, like I have an AI curated search option in the search. You can do a manual search and you can kind of just do filters and stuff and find profiles that way. Or you can type in saying, I'm looking for, I need somebody who's very strategic and financially in financials or whatever the case may be. And it'll kind of
Mm-hmm.
go through the whole directory and then it'll spit out the profiles that kind of meet that criteria. Or you could say, I'm
Right.
looking for somebody who's really good, dealing with conflict, or de-escalating situations, or I need somebody who's got a very innovative way of thinking. And it'll go through and it'll find those profiles based on their onboarding and all that stuff. So you
Right.
can search by using filters and stuff like that, or you can search, using actual, short tail
Like
kind of like,
human needs
yeah,
prompting, right? Essentially, right? Like
yeah.
I'm
And
a
then you look
boss.
at their
I got a
profile.
high stress. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Go
Good.
ahead. Yeah,
No, no, I was just saying as an example, right? I'm a boss, I have a job. I know this place burns people out. So if you can't handle high stress, I know you're not going to work here very long. So you
yeah,
can put in there comfortable in high stress environments,
yep.
right? Does well under extreme pressure, which is like, yay. But but there could be people out there that are like thrive in those environments. You'll never find them on a resume.
Or they like it, or they like those environments. Like one of the
Yeah.
questions on one of the newer questions in the onboarding process is like, what kind of environments do you not like working in, or what kind of
Mm,
environments do you enjoy working in? So those answers can, will tell you one or two things. Like either like, I need somebody who thrives in environments where they're not afraid of dealing with confrontation. Like they don't mind confrontation. And you'll find a list of people who actually tell you that they thrive in those types of situations where there might be people who
mm-hmm.
say they hate being in environments where there's conflict or confrontation, and then that kind
Right.
of weeds those people out. Like you'll never see that by looking at somebody or looking at a resume. So that's what
Right.
Signal
Or
Layer is designed
yeah.
to do. And the cool thing about Signal Layer too is that we also have those things for people to see. So it's a very like deep professional behavioral type of database, but also like every Signal profile, you have the option to, I call them receipts, which basically is proof of what you're saying you do. you have an option of attaching a PDF version of your resume. So if somebody sees you have a receipt on your profile, they can click it. It'll pop open a PDF view of your resume. So they can actually see your resume, or they can click your LinkedIn icon and go to your LinkedIn profile if they want a more in-depth view of you. You can even put a 60-second professional introductory video on your own profile. So somebody can see you have a video, they can click it and it'll pop open and it'll actually be you giving them a 60-second professional introduction to who you are, so they can see you, they can hear you. So it really makes the professional profile so much more personal and so much more centralized and kind of in your face versus kind of digging through layers of a whole bunch of noise trying to find people that may be a great fit for a role that you're looking to fill. And that's why I built Signal Layer. And like I said, it originally was because I was frustrated. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I need an opportunity and I have so much to offer, but nobody's going to know what I really have to offer by looking at a resume or by just like burying me under all of this noise and advertisements and, graphics and like all this stuff. I need a place where the focus is on the people. But then I also said at the same time, like, I want everyone to feel welcome on my platform. So if you're available for opportunities, wonderful. If you're looking to connect with people, great. If you're looking for opportunities just to kind of see what's out there, or you want to be approachable, put yourself out there. But if you just want to be on the platform just to give yourself that extra layer of marketing, that extra layer of presence, that extra layer of, depth of who you are professionally, but you're not looking for an opportunity, and then you put yourself out there as professionally present. So everyone's kind of welcome on the platform, but I really think that this has so much potential to become something so much bigger and greater. But the goal is, and the only way it really becomes valuable is when I build up that database, that directory. And so that's why I got to get people on that directory.
No, for sure. That's where it's all got to start, right? I mean, Facebook just started as a thing for, Harvard college kids, and look where we are today.
Yeah.
Just 10 years later, actually, right? Like, it wasn't even that long ago. not,
I know.
not long ago at all.
And there
Um,
was a lot less marketing. And the thing is I'm on a bootstrap,
yeah,
so it's like paying pays per clicks and all that stuff. Like
yeah.
I can't
No,
afford
we
it.
just
And
need to get the word out there.
yeah,
I'm going to throw you for a loop, right? So we did not discuss this, right? But as you were talking about the onboarding part for the person to kind of get their full character uploaded, and then the AI can help channel that out, right, in a way that makes sense for the opportunities. It would be very interesting to see a mirror platform of jobs, because I will tell you that one of the things that companies and business owners struggle with is actually articulating the jobs that they are hiring for. A lot of it comes from standardized databases, from HR, guidebooks, things of that nature, but it doesn't quite meet the needs on the ground, right? So it's a lot of square pegs and round holes, and then by the time that the person goes through the interview process, I think I could do something like that, and they actually get on the job, it starts to break down real quick, because what the hiring manager was hiring for, because of the needs on the ground, and then what the person thought they were going to do end up being two different things. And of course companies just say, well, you just got to be flexible, right? And it's like, no, you kind of need to be better. Right, you need to be
yeah,
better to articulate your needs, right? And it'd be
yeah,
very interesting if part of this, not in the future, was as a business owner, go in there, hey, I'm going to build my business profile, and I'm going to have this platform help me, uh, kind of how they helped me created my I'm the hero part, right, on the other side, help me create the job description based on my description of what people are doing, what I physically see them doing these things, and I need more of it, or I have a lack, and let me describe the lack, right, this hole in my process that I need somebody to help me take care of. And then the AI then creates the professional job description, And I think it would be a small miracle when suddenly it can just match.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you brought that up because if you go onto my site and you go to pricing, you'll see at the bottom part of the pricing, I'm building out a hiring manager, which these businesses would be hiring managers because they're
Mm-hmm.
and recruiter type of portal. So I'm going to have like different pricing tiers for them, and I'm going to build kind of a separate portal on the back end for them to do a lot of the things that you just described. Um,
Nice.
but before I can do any of that, they have to see a directory filled with people that's worth
Oh
them
yeah, of course, of
out. And
course, of
so,
course.
but yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that. And I took a note down so I can kind of make sure I get that spin on it. But I'm definitely looking to build kind of a recruiter hiring manager type of kind of like separate portal
Mm-hmm.
where they have different functions and things they can do. And it's all going to be based on behaviors. It's all going to be based on professional attributes. Um,
Mm.
because again, when we resumes resumes may help somebody get the interview, but it's not what gets them hired,
Right.
right? What gets them hired is number one, how they present themselves, how they identify themselves, how they convince the person sitting across from them that they're the best fit for the role. But it's
Mm-hmm.
also a two-way street. So if the person who's interviewing you or interviewing me isn't, like you just said earlier, isn't really giving you like the full story about exactly what the role entails or what they're going to be doing, then you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to be able to get the full amount of information out of that person to know whether or not they're really the best fit for it. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things I always do when I interview people. Like I would tell them, like, listen, this is going to be a very complex role. You're going to be ripping your hair out. I'm going to be demanding certain things from you, and I'm going to be expecting certain things from you. And I'm looking for somebody who's got the hunger, who's got the ambition, who's willing to kind of push themselves to limits and stuff and I'll tell them that straight out, so that there's no coming back
Mm-hmm.
to me in a week or 2 weeks or a month and saying I didn't know that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how you really kind of are able to filter out the people who really aren't built for it because you'll know they'll hesitate, they'll
Yeah.
push, and I've always been really good at hiring people that are great workers. They may not have had all of the skills, like the hard skills
Yeah.
that we needed, but they had the ability to learn those skills and the
Yeah.
ambition and the desire and all that. So it always ended up working, and they always end up being great employees and that loyal employees that stick around, um, versus somebody who just they can do the job, but all they do is bitch, moan, complain, and
Yeah.
they feel entitled. They have this sense of entitlement, like I'm the only one who can do this job right, and that's period. That's no, that's how you create toxic environments. And so
Right.
I have the feeling
No,
that
because I think
that's
that'd be great. If you had like if because a lot of people are not you, right? And if they could just describe, look, I drive my people crazy because I'm a kind of a micromanager and have kind of a perfectionist, and this is the way my leadership style is, and I
yep,
know I'm difficult to work with, right? But I compensate people very very well because I know I'm a jerk, and I at the end of the day I have no malice, and be able just to describe the human piece of that,
yeah,
of what it's like to work for somebody. Then it's funny, right? The AI will bridge the human. How weird is that?
yeah,
At the end of the day, um, that's amazing, right?
mhm,
I love this idea. I've seen it in different formats, right? People trying to solve this. It's obviously a problem where people are not cannot make the see. This is goes back to what I'm talking about around decision making. It is very difficult for the person who is, let's say, who needs a job to make the right decisions without the right type of data available. And it's very difficult for the person who is looking for somebody to fill a position to make the right decisions if they don't know the full picture. And that's the number one reason why the philosophy is hire slow, fire fast. It's because of all those unknown human factors, all those unknown variables are not discovered until they get there. But if you can pre-discover a lot of those variables ahead of time, you could hire faster and not like go through 15 rounds of interviews for an entry level job, which is a real story, unfortunately.
yeah. I mean, and the stats are out there. Like I've done the research. I actually put it on my site, but like, 89% of hiring failures are caused by behavioral mismatches, not skills.
Mm,
40% of new hires fail within 18 months due to behavioral mismatches. And like 50
mm-hmm.
to 200% of annual salary is the cost of a bad hire. So I think if people put a little bit more effort in the right areas for hiring, and they're looking at different things other than just bullet points and accomplishments, a lot of people can probably solve for that. And then a lot of people who feel unseen or like they're not getting any help, that perspective can change. And like I said, like, you still got to apply for these jobs the normal way, like you have to apply for them. But how much more of a chance are you giving yourself if instead you're attaching your professional dossier that basically points out all of your behavioral things, your
Mm-hmm.
your your things you're proud of, how other people see you, your style, what you're known for, what you're good at, what excites you, all those things in a very executive like document, and attaching that to your application. And instead of just sending them like your LinkedIn profile, you send them your Signal profile. They can go in and see your Signal and learn a lot more about you from a professional identity perspective. But they can actually watch a video of you for 60 seconds if you have one on there. They can see your resume by clicking receipts. They can see your trust badges. They can just learn so much more about you as a person before they actually even speak to you.
Mm.
And I just think everybody needs that extra boost and that extra help. But I know that a lot of professionals, including myself, we just feel like once we're thrown or spit back out into the job market, like no one gives a shit about us.
Yeah.
And you know it's not right. And that's why I'm on this journey. That's why I'm doing this, because I really feel like this has a lot of potential, especially if I can really get that directory built up. And I feel like it can really change and disrupt kind of the existing way that identities or professionals are kind of being marketed. Like we have all these job boards, right? You have all these boards with all these
Mm-hmm.
jobs on them. You have all these resume boards with all these resumes on them, but there's really nothing out there with all these like actual professional people. And that's what Signal Layer is. And that's what Layer is going to do.
Man, that's amazing. I'm super excited for this. I think that this is going to change, right, the way people think about employment on a large scale. And being honest when I say this, because I mean, as you talked about, right, there's all these gaps, while technical, are actually incredibly emotional. The wrenching emotions between like how we see ourselves and the value we put on the work we've done in the past, and who we and on our identity. Like it's on an identity level, because I mean, Western side, right, of course, of the world, American even more specific, male even more specific. When males talk to each other, they go, "Hey, what's your name? What do you do?" Like that's after identifying you as something to call you other than "Hey, you."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And
Like
then
so much.
the third question is always, what do you enjoy about it?
Right. Right, and there's so much there. And so when the job market, like you said, spits people back out, that's wrecked, right? That's a strong emotional, visceral response. And so just grinding back through the flat paper of a resume is not the answer. Right? That is not going to be the answer of the future. We are human beings. We have way more going on than 5 bullet points and some educational bullets, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the professional landscape, how things are done, all that stuff. It's always evolving and changing. But the way that professionals present themselves really has never changed. It hasn't changed, and that's kind of
Mm,
the road I'm on with Signal Layer. We're going to change that. We're gonna put people first. We're gonna put people front and center, and we're going to really kind of dig deep into those behaviors and attributes that separate people, and uh, create kind of a better, more broad picture of who they are professionally. And then that other stuff can come later, like the what they've done, what they've, where they've worked type of stuff. Because like I said, a lot of the stuff that's on a resume is on their Signal. Like, the top 3 positions that they're seeking, that's on their Signal. The skills that they're good at, like that's on their Signal. Like their tool stack, like the tools and stuff that they're really good at, or that they want to use, that's on their Signal. So there's a lot of stuff on their Signal that will really kind of help aside from just their attributes and traits and stuff like that, and their professional identity. But that part of it, the identity part, is extremely, extremely important, because like we talked about earlier, people can know how to use a lot of tools and do a lot of things, but there's certain things you can teach people, and there's certain things that you just can't teach them, or they don't have the ability to learn. And that, I think, is what really creates, successful organizations. And you may even be somebody who's looking for somebody who's kind of a dick, and you'll probably find them you definitely will find them on SignalLayer. You'll find, like, if you're looking for somebody who's kind of a dick, who doesn't really work well with others but gets shit done, then that's who you want. Great, no judgment. That's who you're hiring.
Right. Bob's your answer. Close to the top.
If you're looking for somebody who has the ability to kind of learn and grow and help you build a really strong collaborative type of environment, whether it's remote or not, then those are the skills that matter most to you. And then you get that person, and that person will learn the job, or at least get better at it. So that's kind of how I feel. That's always been kind of my mantra.
Man, that is awesome. Sam, tell me. So we're gonna wind this down a little bit. So I want to give you some last bits. The final answer, right, is what is your message, right, to this audience and to every audience. But before we get there, just a real brief, like 2 minutes, talk about what is in your world the center point of this decision to go this direction, like the most deepest why. I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff, and if you've already said it, just reiterate it. But if there's something deeper, I want that part. And then, what is your message to the audience about SignalLayer?
I have spent a long time building my professional career and identity and all that stuff. But I'm tired of being in a position where people decide when I work, where I work, and when my job is over, and when my income stops coming in. I've gotten to a point where as much as I want this, most people think, they want the security and the safety and all that stuff, but you can't even feel secure or safe in roles anymore. They come and go, and the only people that seem to stick through all the layoffs are the people that are making way too much money, and they get the big golden parachutes, so they're fine if they get let go. But I'm talking about like the mid to senior level people, but not very senior type of people. So I really just got I'm just tired of feeling this pain, this frustration, this feeling like I'm in limbo all the time, moving around and having to break leases and figure things out, and spending time away from my kids, and having to constantly tell my kids I got laid off again. Like I'm tired of living in this environment. So I'm taking all of the information I have, all the knowledge, all the experience, all the feelings and emotions that I have running through me that have brought me to where I am right now, and I'm trying to create a solution for it. Not only do I want to create a solution for it because a lot of people out there are feeling the same pain I'm feeling, and frustration and all those emotions. I want to give them an opportunity to present themselves better, give themselves an extra resource to help them through their journey, give them an extra set of tools that can help them, get that next opportunity, or help them keep the opportunity they have. Because like I said, there are a lot more features built into the tool that can help people do that. But I also want to monetize. Like, I want to create something that I can talk about, that I can share, that I'm excited about, that I'm proud of, that I can actually monetize off of, and never have to depend on anyone to give me a paycheck ever again. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. And I really believe that this tool has the potential to do that. So that's why I kind of built it. That's where my mindset is. That's where my passion is. Yes, I'm still looking for positions and roles because, I still need to find something to kind of supplement some sort of an income so that I don't have to lose everything again. I'm hanging on by a thread right now. But I do want to help people create something different, something that a lot of people have overlooked for too long. I want to be an advocate for people that are going through what I'm going through. And I want to be a straight shooter. A lot of people are very careful to say how they really feel, but honestly, I'm at a point, and I think we really kind of need to speak up about what's really happening out there and how it makes us feel. We shouldn't feel bad about needing an opportunity. We shouldn't feel bad about coming across desperate sometimes, because honestly, when you're in the position that we're in, there is a level of desperation. And until you're in this position, maybe you'll never understand it. And it doesn't make us bad people. It doesn't make us losers. It doesn't make us, incapable or any of that. It's just a situation that we were thrown into. And I'm trying to find the best way to kind of navigate through the situation, because the situation isn't what defines me. What I do in the situation, how I react to it, that's what defines me. So that's what this project is about. It's about helping others, helping myself, and also trying to figure out a way that I don't have to depend on anybody for paychecks anymore. So with the Signal Layer and with the Parseworks, I'm hoping to get a lot more people on those platforms. Again, Signal Layer is free to join. Obviously, you get more perks if you pay monthly or annually, but it is free to join. At least get on there. I know a lot of people are hesitant because it's a new thing. And like everything that's new, people just aren't really sure. But I can assure everybody it's completely safe. We don't ask for any personal information other than your name and your email. Everything else is professional. And there's just lots of great new enhancements and stuff that are coming out that I think people can really benefit from. I think of everything that I do and build as kind of an all-in-one tool. Everything that you can potentially probably think of needing or wanting as somebody who's in the job market or a professional is in this tool. And the same thing with the optimizing app. Everything that you potentially need and want in a resume tool to make things so much simpler and easier for you and accurate is in that tool. So that's kind of how I function. And so hopefully that answered your two-part question.
Oh, Samuel, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey, and your tools, right, along the way, and the inspiration that I love what you said. Like, the situation doesn't define you; your reaction does, and
Yeah.
you've chose to be a builder, right, and build for yourself. Take control of what you can. Your what I call my 24 inches, or 36 for my arm reach, and then also help others along the way, right? So that if they're not ready to be a builder, that's fine. But well, let's help you get a job, type of thing. And I have lots of experience, right? You're just using all your experience and building this all-in-one tool to really get that. So if everybody's listening, find the link in the description. It will be there, and go build a profile.
Yeah.
Right. Go experience it for yourself. What the depth of what it means to kind of represent the human part of who you are, so that in the future this database can then be a force to be reckoned with and help be a better match, right, in the future.
Let's disrupt LinkedIn and all these other platforms. Let's cause some disruption. Let's show them, like, they're not the only platform out there. Let's be founding members. Let's do this together. And I also have, like, if you scroll down to the bottom of my landing page, I have a contact link. So anyone that's creating a profile or created a profile, if they have any feedback they want to share, any questions, anything, any improvements or anything like that, by all means, please share it. I take all the feedback and I work it into, enhancements and making the experience better. But yeah, I mean, for everybody, I would just say, just try it. It's free to do. It's going to take you like 10 to 15 minutes, like I said, but it's because it really wants to kind of get to the heart of you as a professional and really kind of understand who you are, so that it can do some amazing things for you, in the future. So
Awesome. Well, Sam, thank you so much for being on the Compass and the Clock today. I appreciate your time, and this is just an amazing thing to share. I just want to say thank you so much.
That's it.